Association, the leader in Pro-Am bass tournaments.
Hi, this is Ernie Daughtery, host of the Fishing Magazine television series. We're at the 1999 Bass Pro Shops Fall Pro-Am Spectacular on beautiful Table Rock Lake. From opening takeoff till final weigh-in, we've got 2 days of exciting bass fishing action ahead. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Oh, a bigot!
Table Rock Lake is one of the favorites of Central Pro-Am anglers. When conditions are right, it can produce big bass, and lots of them. But that's usually in the spring. And as the Central Pro-Am anglers gather at Table Rock in the 3rd week of November for the Bass Pro Shops Fall Pro-Am Spectacular, it's certain the Pro-Am anglers will be facing tough conditions. Table Rock is several feet below normal, the water ultra clear, and fall temperatures have remained unusually warm, making this one of the toughest falls anyone can remember on this massive White River Impoundment. The tournament has drawn over 320 of Mid-America's best bass anglers, making it one of the largest fields in Central Pro-Am history. The Pro-Am anglers will be vying for over $100,000 in cash and prizes, with the Pro Division winner taking home nearly $17,000. In all, competitors from 9 states, including Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois, are entered in the tournament. And as always, the field is a formidable one. Heading the list is Troy Aikens, who won the Central Pro-Am Triple Crown by winning a regular season tournament, Angler of the Year honors, and the Ranger Mercury Pro-Am Championship, all in 1 year.
Well, I'm expecting that the weights be down, it'll probably take 25 pounds, 26 pounds to win the tournament. And, by the way, I'm catching fish. I'm not catching fish very well. There'll be a lot of spinnerbaits being thrown, a lot of jigs fished, and Carolina rig. If the wind blows, the tournament will probably be won on a spinnerbait.
Also entered is Table Rock guide Tim Sonato, Central Pro-Am's 1997 Pro Division champion, a full-time guide on Table Rock, and one of Central Pro-Am's most consistent anglers.
I think the weather changed tomorrow. They're calling for a lot of high skies after this cold front, high-pressure system. I think the guys that caught fish on spinnerbait and crankbait the last 2 days, we've had some wind. They're going to have a little tougher time. The guys that found some deep fish will probably be the ones that bring some fish in.
Another angler to watch is Greg Ryan, a Pro-Am veteran and Redman All-American qualifier, who's tough to beat in the fall if the bass are hitting a spinnerbait.
I think what's happening is that we're actually about a month behind as far as temperature in the water and everything that's going on right now. And October is kind of known as one of the toughest months on Table Rock Lake to fish, and I think that's what's happening right now. The fish are scattered. They're in a transition period. There's fish basically being caught just about any way you want to catch them. It's just hard to catch any numbers of fish right now on any one certain bait.
The morning of day 1 dawns chilly and overcast, but that suits the Pro-Am anglers just fine, especially those who found fish on spinnerbaits and topwaters. Tim Sonato is one of the best at fishing deep structure on Table Rock, but this morning his fish just aren't active. Sonato can see them in his depth finder, but this morning they aren't following his lure. And when they do, the bite is very, very light. If things stay like this, Sonato is going to need every trick he knows to come in with a limit. Steve Redford and John Wolgemuth are working structure spoons on drop-offs just outside the edge of standing timber. So far, they're both well on their way to limits. And if Wolgemuth can keep this up, he's certain to be among the day 1 leaders in the amateur division. Troy Aikens lives near Table Rock and has emerged as one of the best and most consistent tournament anglers in Mid-America. So he's a threat to win any tournament he fishes here. As always, he's fishing his 1/4 ounce brown jig around boat docks, and so far it's paying off. Unfortunately, like most of the Pro-Am anglers, all the fish he's catching are small. Bobby Sullivan won the Fall Pro-Am 3 straight times from 1991 to 1993. And today he's putting himself in position to win his 4th. He already caught several fish on a buzzbait, and if he can coax a big one into hitting, he could be hard to beat. Rob Williams and Andy Gill are fishing structure spoons in Carolina rigs at the mouth of Long Creek. For years, Williams has been among the most consistent anglers on the Central Pro-Am circuit, but he's never managed to win. Today, he's got a pattern going that just may do the trick. And if Gil can keep catching fish too, they both could be among the day one leaders. With the sun shining and the wind calm, Greg Ryan is having trouble getting a spinnerbait bite going. So he's switched to working a jerkbait and grubs along chunk rock banks. Unfortunately, neither of those patterns is working, and Ryan knows he must figure out something quick to stay in contention. Eventually, he begins pitching a jig around boat docks, but that isn't producing either. When the anglers return to the Kimberling Inn for the day one weigh-in, John Wolgemuth is one of the first amateur division anglers to come to the scales.
He's got 4 bass, 3 to go with that big fish. Not quite double figures. There's your leader-o, 9.40 pounds.
A short time later, Wolgemuth's lead is challenged by Andy Gill.
Got a limit. Leading the amateur division, hadn't changed for a long time. 940. Probably gone. Oh, you guys are losing your touch. You're losing your touch. It's been more than a week and a half. You forgot how to judge these fish. 11.45 pounds. New leader in the amateur division, Andy Gill. Good job, bud.
When the second flight arrives, Gill's lead is challenged by Bob Jorgensen, the defending Fall Pro-Am title holder.
I'll guarantee you that fish is going to get some big bass money. I don't have it yet. Whoa, look at that. Look at that big old brownie in there. 8.65 pounds. Good job, son. You're the big bass leader right now. Good job.
In the pro division, Troy Akins is one of the first anglers to weigh in.
How many we got? He's got the limit. He's still catching them. He's going to take the lead here. 10.35 pounds.
Right behind Akins is Bobby Sullivan.
Got your kicker fish. How many you got to go with her?
Got 4 to go with it.
So we got the limit, 450, leading the pro division, 1035. You got half of that with 1 bass. Oh, here we go. Here you go. You're ready here. Here's your new leader, 12.10 pounds.
Then it's Craig Davis's turn.
How many you got?
Got a little limit.
Little limit, 4 other bass with a 4-pounder. So what are we going to look at here? About 8 and 4, 12 pounds?
Yeah, maybe.
12 pounds. Sullivan's leading with 12.10. You're going to get Sullivan? Boy, you get right on his tail. 11.80 pounds. Good job, Craig Davis.
A short time later, Rob Williams comes to the scales.
They need to weigh 12.10 to take the lead. Close. Ooh, look at here. So one of these Ranger guys out of Steve's Boats down there at Bull Shoals, Arkansas. Oh, yeah, look at here. What do you think? More than 12.10. No? You sure? One more time. Final answer, 11.80 pounds.
Right behind Williams is Preston Havens.
All right, let's see. We got a good sack of fish here, Preston. Good job. Going after Sullivan. He's got him. 13 point. Whoa, settle down. Settle down. No, Preston. No, bad Preston. Bad Preston. Preston loses his fingers if he does that. I'm going to get back up there. 0 pounds, 13 pounds. Go get him tomorrow, buddy.
At the end of the first day, Preston Havens stands atop the Quantum Pro-Am scoreboard with 13 pounds, giving him a slim 2-ounce lead over Mark Pitchford in second place. Close behind are Bobby Sullivan and Terry Thomas, 2 experienced anglers who know Table Rock well and are poised to make their move on day 2, with Craig Davis and Rob Williams tied for 5th. The rest of the top 10 is led by Pete Winters in 7th place, but it's tight from there on, as less than half a pound separates winners from Tim Sonato and Jack Stack in 10th. In the amateur division, Andy Gill holds the day 1 lead with 11.45 pounds. John Wolgemuth is nearly 2 pounds back with 9.4 pounds, with Bob Jorgensen, Mark McCurdy, and Mike Richardson completing the top 5. As in the pro division, the rest of the top 10 is tightly bunched with barely a pound separating Darren Compton in 6th place from Chuck Bridgewater in 10th. Stay tuned for day 2 of the Bass Pro Shops Fall Pro-Am Spectacular. We'll be right back. Fishing My Way. Helpful hints from some of Central Pro-Am's top competitors. Brought to you by Daylight Donuts, the best donuts around. Earlier this year, Dion Hibden won the first Central Pro-Am Titleist tournament on Table Rock, relying on advice from his father, former Bassmasters Classic winner Guido Hibden. And Dion was candid about what it's like to follow in the footsteps of a bass fishing legend.
Well, when I won the Classic, a lot of people made the comment about me being in his shadow. You know, everybody else minded. I never minded. I mean, what a pair of shoes to be following. I mean, think about it. You know, he's one of the best anglers in the world. That never bothered me. I think it bothered everybody else worse than it did me. You know, and it's a neat deal. I carry the best guide in the world around with me everywhere I go. I mean, my dad leads me around everywhere I go. And to this day, you know, I fished with some of the finest anglers in the world. I've never been in a boat with anybody as good as my dad. But it's been neat. We've had a good time. He's not my dad. He's my best friend. You know, we go all over the world together. We've seen things that most people will never see. We've had fishing experiences that, you know, second to none. I hope and pray that, you know, I'm a good enough ambassador for the sport that other kids would like to try. You know, other 16, 17-year-olds will get into it and want to do it. That's what it's all about. You know, my little kids, you know, my 3 boys, they're all the same way. They're just eat up with it. They want to do it, you know, and someday they will, you know. And that's what I'm working for right now, is so someday maybe he can win a Classic, you know. And, you know, and that's my dream. That's what I work towards now.
On the morning of day 2, the Pro-Am anglers are greeted by exactly the thing many of them didn't want to see: clear skies. And that's likely to mean that conditions could get even tougher than on day 1. First day leader Preston Havens is continuing to fish the pattern that produced his day 1 limit. He's fishing spinnerbaits and crankbaits along the banks near Kimberling City, trying to cover as much water as he can. Unfortunately, the bright skies and warm morning seem to have turned his fish off. And unless he can make adjustments during the day, he may fall out of contention. Mark Pitchford is fishing a spinnerbait in Main Lake pockets with stained water near the back. So far, his strategy is paying off. And if he can keep this up, he could be in position to win his first Central Pro-Am title. Bobby Sullivan has run back up the James River to the area where he caught fish on day 1. But today, he's finding the going tough. Sullivan's an experienced hand at tackling situations like this. And you can bet he'll find a way to catch them by the end of the day. The wind and bright skies are also playing havoc with Rob Williams' pattern. So far, his fish aren't biting like they did on day 1. And he, too, is in danger of falling out of contention. The same is true of Randy Scott. So far, he has only 1 keeper, and he's not getting bites the way he did on day 1. One angler who is catching fish is Pete Winters. The 1996 Pro Division champion and Table Rock guide is one of the best at fishing structure spoons and grubs for deep water bass. Winters was in 7th place, 2 pounds behind the leader at the end of day 1. And if he can keep this up, he could win his 2nd Central Pro-Am title. When the Pro-Am anglers return to the Kimberling Inn for the afternoon weigh-in, Bob Jorgensen is one of the first amateur division competitors to weigh in.
How many you got?
2 bass.
2 bass. Leading 12 something. Are they good ones?
Barely.
Barrelies? I don't know. 4.20 pounds. Let's do the math. Will it be enough? Here we go again. If this stretches, we'll just have to wait and see. 12.85 pounds. A new leader in the amateur division, Bob Jorgensen.
When the 2nd flight arrives, Andy Gill comes to the scales, and the race in the amateur division is, in a word, over.
3 bass. They got to weigh, They got to weigh less than a pound enough to take the lead. I don't think they'll make it. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Good job, Andy Gill. 6.90 pounds. Let me do this. This is what I live for, man. All right, now we got a target for all those amateur division anglers to shoot for. Here we got, what do we got? $4,900 on the line. 18.35 pounds. A new leader, Andy Gill.
In the Pro Division, Fred Guppy is one of the first to weigh in and takes the Pro Division lead with a 2-day total of 14.4 pounds. Mark Pitchford is next.
Did you catch him for me?
Only got 3.
3 bass. Pittsburgh had 12.90 pounds. He should be our new leader. Unless they only weighed 1.50 pounds, 3 of them. Surely they're going to weigh more than that. 6.10 pounds. All right, now we get to put some pens together out here. 19 pounds, even a new leader in the pro division, Mark Pitchford.
Rufus Harris comes in with a limit, including this 5-pounder, but he can't overtake Pitchford's lead. A short time later, Pete Winters comes to the scales.
He needs a couple of it to take the lead away from Mark Pitchford. Here we go. 8.45 pounds. Let's see what we come up with here. Here we go. 19.65 pounds. Under the leader, Pete Winters.
A short time later, Jimmy Davis arrives to challenge Pete Winters' lead.
How many we got today?
Got 5 today.
Got a limit today. Before yesterday weighed 9 pounds. Watch out. Watch out. Here we go, Pete Winters. Not going to mess around with you. You going to get him? It looks close. It's 11.95 pounds. Buddy, $15,000 cash, $2,700 worth of free entry fees, and a brother that would envy you for a whole year.
Well, yeah, he probably would.
Yeah, he would. Here we go. 20.95 pounds. I'm the leader, Jimmy Davis Jr.
A few minutes later, Jackie Davis comes to the scales.
I know you're going to challenge the brother's lead because you got 9.60 pounds. He's only got 20. I know you got 12 pounds in there.
Yes, sir.
You got him? Yep. Well, he's going to be so mad if you take the lead. There may be a fist fight right here. Huh? 8.65 pounds. You didn't fall for it yourself, did you? Oh, okay. You ready? He's going to hate you. Don't you want to give up a couple of pounds, maybe?
Let me call it.
You call it.
20.
No! See, they're all cheaters. Every one of them. Every one of them. That's a 2-pound penalty for integrity. Throw the flag. Throw the flag right here. 14.65 pounds.
It's official now. Jackie Davis wins his 5th Central Pro-Am title with 24.25 pounds, while his brother Jimmy storms into second with 20.95 pounds. Preston Havens, Pete Winters, and Mark Pitchford complete the top 5. In the rest of the top 10, Tim Sonato leads the way in 6th place, with Larry Wickersham, Ted Thomas, James Miles, and Randy Scott close behind. In the amateur division, Andy Gill wins his first Central Pro-Am title with a 2-day total of 18.35 pounds. Mike Smith finishes second with 15.25 pounds, with Steve Plank, Bob Jorgensen, and Jerry Davidson completing the top 5. In the rest of the top 10, Diego Segui Jr. leads the way in 6th place, narrowly edging out Troy Ayers, John Wogemuth, Jack Taft III, and Mark McCurdy. Stay tuned for tournament winning tips from Jackie Davis. We'll be right back. Techniques you can use to catch more fish. Brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them one at a time.
I came into this tournament fired up because I just came from the Ranger Millennium Tournament in Florida, and I lost a fish the last day that would have got me 2nd place because I tried to swing the fish over. And ever since then, that was just a couple weeks ago, I came down here ready to go catch them again to say I could, I guess, because it really upset me. And I just went and fished the patterns that we fish this time of the year down here. On a day like we're having right now, if there's any clouds, or first thing in the morning for the first hour, I would throw a spinnerbait. And just a 1/2-ounce spinnerbait with double willow leaf blades, white chartreuse, with a pearl twin-tail Rick Clunn trailer that they came out with, and of course with a trailer hook. The spinnerbait, I was fishing as fast as I could crank the reel handle just under the surface, and they would come up and get it off the top. To make it bulge, you just stick that rod right in your side and kind of hold your rod tip up just a little bit, not very high, that way you can still set the hook. You just make a real long cast, and then as soon as it hits the water, you got to start burning it. And a real key is having a high-speed reel, because my partner is having trouble keeping up with my retrieve because I was taking in more line than he was, so he switched reels, and then he was able to keep up with me. I caught my biggest fish within 10 minutes of getting to my spot on the spinnerbait, and so I decided just to throw it for about an hour and a half, and I caught another real nice fish on it, another largemouth, and then there was a long dry spell. And I started flipping my jig to trees to docks, and they were 10 to 15 foot deep on the docks, on the bottom.
Thanks for being with us today. And be sure to join us next week as we travel with Central Pro-Am Association to Beaver Lake in northwest Arkansas for the 2000 Beaver Pro-Am Bass Tournament. We'll see you then on the Fishin' Magazine television series.
The Fishin' Magazine television series is brought to you by Ranger Boats, where they still build them.